My name is Joey Gabra. I'll be your moderator. I'll not use the mic for now. I'll be your moderator. Joey Gabra, the managing director of Affiliate for You. We are a mobile affiliate program with a primary focus on mobile billing and that whole fun stuff. Nothing CAMS related at all at the moment, which is perfect for me being here. But I'd like my panelists to first introduce themselves, and then I'll start touching on all the different fun things we'll get into in a bit. But starting with Jasmine here, you guys work your way down.
Hi, I'm Jasmine. I work at Flipper Free Live Cam Network. We have a gay, straight, and tranny cam.
Hello, I'm Tim. I'm for iFriends. We've been around for 17 years, going on our 18th year now. Our affiliate program is ClickCash, which ties into the iFriends program. And we have over 500,000 registered cam hosts and over 13 million members. And we're glad you're here. And Joey, thank you for moderating.
Hi, my name is Douglas. I am working at CAMS Power. We are providing live cam white labels, gay, straight, tranny, name it, mobile, desktop, and we're here to help the cam.
I'm Shirley from Chatterbait, and we're kind of the new kids on the block. This guy's been here since 1998, he said earlier. And we've been here for about 4 years now, but I think we're doing really well.
Hi, I'm Yuval from StreamMate. StreamMate specializes in white label with our affiliate program, Cam Builder. I think we stopped counting members a long time ago.
Good morning. I'm Shai from Pussycash. I'm Live. Pussycash is an affiliate network that promotes a lot of big brands like I'm Live, Sexier. We have also Welcome With, which is white label generators. We got over 12,000 partners that have our white label solutions. And we have a lot of other different products like Shima.com, Superman.com for gay traffic, and Fetish Galaxy.
Thank you. So, CAMS is well, before I start, I want to get a feel for who's in here. So who here is already working in the CAMS space? Hands?
You know, I would personally like to see who are the studios, who are affiliates, and who. So I want to know how to better direct my answers. So let's, studios, okay, affiliates, and then we have company owners.
People looking to get into the business.
And competition. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that was actually better than my question, so you're good. Essentially I want to start with sort of an overview. My interest in CAMS has always been, obviously from a mobile perspective, but we won't get into the mobile aspect of it yet. What I'm seeing now, and why I've started to have a bigger growing interest in what this is I feel like the last couple of years I'm seeing and hearing a lot more about it. It's gotten bigger, more prominent. I mean, I know it's always been awesome, but it seems more than ever lately. And I haven't quite pinned down why yet. I haven't seen any massive evolutions in terms of anything besides CAMS just getting stronger, better, bigger. So I'd like to kind of hear from each of you why you think that's happening, or if there is a real reason why it is happening.
I can tell you why.
Yep.
I think it's starting to become, millennials now are kind of in the now generation. And so instead of depending on people to produce a product for them where they choose the model, choose the acts, now they're becoming the director, they're becoming the agent. And I think that has to do a lot with the evolution of where we are today as millennials. I know I'm one. The way I shop and the way I'm sure that trickles down to the way consumers do porn.
On demand,
yeah, on demand. And I think that's why it's making CAMS so much stronger.
Yeah.
I also think that the world has become so live. I mean, everything today is live. All the shows are live, the reality shows, and people are not, they just want to see everything going right now. They want to see it live, and I think that the webcam is one of the only true live product there is,
Do you think, because you know your audiences well enough, do you think that it also has some, you notice how online dating's become a lot less of a taboo topic now? People are openly online dating, and I feel like cams is a topic that you're hearing people at least discuss a lot more about. I think that's part of it.
I don't think that's the reason. I think what we're saying is cams is the biggest moneymaker for our partners. So I think we're getting way more exposure than we used to, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So we get, tons of traffic from, tube sites, dating sites, membership sites.
Sure.
Exposure is 10 times bigger, and the product is big. I mean, it's better. The technology is there. I mean, 3, 4, 5 years ago, we couldn't stream the way we're streaming right now. I mean,
well, look at the way people play video games. They have their headset on and they're communicating,
totally.
And that comes down straight back to cams. Now they want to talk to the girl that they're masturbating towards to, and they want her attention. I mean, it's very interactive, and I think that's what's capitalizing right now, and I think that's not going to change.
You guys, you're on that as well?
Jasmine?
Or?
No, I agree. I think people want a human connection.
Yeah.
They want, so that's why I think cams is booming right now.
It just seems more so, because we've always had cams for a long time, it just seems more so now than ever that human connection seems a lot more significant than it used to be, which I think is interesting. But you mentioned the product.
You can't pirate interaction.
Yeah, that's a good point too. That's a great point.
Well, everybody has
to
to
the
go
generation
too.
Yeah. Well, this kind of leads me into the next one. So, and this I want to hear from everybody on, because I feel like whenever you start bringing up mobile product, responsive design, delivery, that whole 9 yards, you get 6 people in a room, you're going to get 6 different answers. So, talk to me about the product now. What are we doing, or what are you guys each kind of doing in terms of how you're attacking on 2 fronts, mobile and tablets and that kind of thing, in terms of design, delivery of the actual product, and on the monetization and the billing. I've got a real interest in how we do better carrier billing for cams and things like that. So on those 2 sides of it, one, where do you consider things like that responsibly, or do you go responsive or make a product for every device, or that kind of thing?
Are we going to go?
There's so many approaches. I think
that's what I want to hear.
Maybe has a slightly different approach, and we chose to go with. Carrier billing isn't legal in every country, so there's you have to really think about what marketplaces. So it's always better to go low-hanging fruit first. Was our approach, and so we decided to create a situation where they can enhance the user experience, give them HD and sound on their mobile device, and you do that by creating your own browser that is able to deliver your streams in HD and sound. And I mean, you hear a lot about separate your Wi-Fi traffic from your 3G, your 4G, and all these different things, but you're probably going to hear 6 different answers of how to.
That's what I want.
So the different monetization that our route was to go with trusted billing. So you have Xbiz, Epic, and we just added PayPal as a way for people. And you kind of want them to feel trusted. I feel like in the past couple of years, the consumer has kind of been a little bit robbed with cross-sells and stuff. So you kind of want to be, so our route was, let's bring on, sure, we have our own merchant account, but we want to make sure that the consumer feels like, oh, I know this site, it's not going to, or the processing company, it's not going to screw me. So we wanted to put those main companies up front, and having PayPal up front was just amazing for us.
I think that the billing issue is first a geographic issue. The days that you presented one biller to everyone all over the world is long gone. If you want to be converts high and give users the best product, you have to get local billers whenever you operate in. If it's in Brazil, India, whatever it is, you need to try to provide sufficient biller for it. This is one thing. Just regards the carrier, you won't see a lot of cams doing carrier billings, because with the business model of the cams, that tops it out around 30% to the model, 30% to the affiliate, and everything between 2 to 10% to the biller. You cannot pay 50% to the carrier.
On the carrier side, sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry. We don't pay that much.
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to add on that. Yeah. So which is. On the carrier billing side of it, the money has to go so many different ways. We have to delegate it to our carriers that we pay, and then the affiliates.
15%.
Well, that's
massive.
It's 15%, which is a huge margin.
And what the suggestion is to do there is that they start monetizing through carrier billing free chat and essentially steal from the models, because the model never knows that they're being carrier billed in these countries for their free chat, which I think that the studios and models, that's not accurate. They're going to see Trust me, they know. And they'll find out immediately that, wait a second, you're selling my live feeds via carrier billing. This is not cool, and there'll be backlash. So carrier billing is interesting, but I
think the neat thing, what we're hoping for, and just to, I guess, kind of wrap up the carrier billing side of it, is what we're seeing now is, well, not now, but when you get in with the carriers the way companies like mine have been able to, essentially, in a year or 2 years from now, hopefully, you can actually we go to the carriers every 6 months and request higher, to be able to build higher price points, start matching a bit more closer to what these guys are doing so that they can get more money and manage. And so some companies, we do some work with some cam companies who are saying, okay, well, we'll hook it up now so that when the time comes, we're just ready to pull the trigger and we're set up for carrier billing. But they know in advance they're not really going to be making much scratch at all for a couple of years. But that's the optimistic point of view, is hopefully we can encourage the carriers to give us more flexibility on the price points, and then we can start doing more work with guys like these. So talk to me about the actual product and the actual design. And
yeah, I want to say two things. First of all, on the responsive side, I mean, we have people now moving, we don't even know what they're about. We really care about being fully responsive. It could be a MacBook, an iPad, an iPhone, whatever it is. Our sites are fully responsive, all the white labels. You basically see the same site, doesn't matter what device you're holding. And that brings a lot to the members. They trust the site, they see the same site. It works everywhere the same way. In terms of billing, what I can say is, one word about the carrier billing. I think we're not there. We'll probably be there. I don't know. The sooner the better, but we're not
realistically,
there. Our focus, StreamMate, is really doing more one-click billing and allowing our partners to use their own merchant accounts. We do a lot of that. And if you have credit cards of your member, you collect credit cards. That's the way to do it. One-click billing, merchant accounts. We let our partners do their own billing, and then they pay us. There's a lot of ways to improve and optimize the billing, but that's what we're focused on.
Yeah.
I just want to add one thing, and this is related to the geos and the billing. Letting the partner do his own billing, sometimes it's the best solution. As Yuval said, I mean, if you know how to bill your clients in whatever place you are located in, just do it. Pay us our share in the end of the month. We might be able even to open our billers for the users that really insist on paying with ours. So it doesn't say that we're going to do just one way. We can do both site billings, but we in WebcamWiz and I do it a lot as well.
So improve user experience and flexibility on the platform is the two salient points.
What about then on we'll go on to the affiliate side of things with promotional tools and things like that. Are we coming up with newer, cooler ways to sort of help entice users, entice clients, affiliates, that kind of thing, to do better for guys like you? What are you guys doing now? Let's go.
I mean, I'll be honest. I think that as an industry, the cam space, we've kind of been a little stagnant here, guys. We should be a little more creative. I think.
Agree. And put in a company plug right now. I think what makes Chatterbait very different is the fact that we have apps, and so I think that has really
something interesting. Yeah.
That has really revolutionized the way money is being earned. You don't have a standard girl like give me money. It's more interactive because now they're playing games with the chat room, and it's all automized. The girls, and that is what I feel has changed and enticed the customer is with our apps because no one else has been doing that.
So Tim, and Jasmine, out here for you guys as well.
Well, what we found is that a lot of our bigger affiliates know exactly what they want, or they're building what they want to promote our site. And they actually have some great ideas, so sometimes you need to take a look at what they're doing because they're the ones that are leading the way and getting the traffic into your sites. We also have, on board, we have a complete creative team in-house. And if you get a hold of our ClickCash affiliate manager, you let her know that she'll work with you and she'll get what you've asked for. We get asked for all kinds of different stuff, and we've had to send pings back to people so they can track back stuff. We give you whatever live feeds of who's online, different genres that are online. So if you ask, you can get it. And like I said, the affiliates are some of your best people for looking at what they're doing on their sites, because they have their finger on the pulse of what the user wants.
You know, I completely agree, and I wish more studios would work more with the cam companies to be like, you know, I have this girl that's very special. Not every single girl is special, but they are always open to pushing more traffic, and I wish more studios would be like, hey, here's this girl, she's willing to provide you with pictures that affiliates want to use to promote, because most girls are like, cam girls in particular are very like, no, I don't want my images being out there. But the few that are open to it, I would love to have more studios work closely with us and work with the girls directly who want more traffic and realize the game. And I wish there was more of a relationship with the affiliate studios, in particular, with the cam companies, with the particular girls that want the extra push to their room.
I agree completely, and I think that I think that this is what you're seeing more and more of, and that's why we introduced our API and basically opened it up that people can, you know, just build their own what they need. And because to try to be the expert in everything, you can't really do it. Just be the best provider of feeds and products is kind of where I think it's going as far as the networks.
Well, my 5 cents about that, you know, if you have a site and you're promoting cams, refresh your stuff all the time. You know, the one mistake you can do is leave it there too long. You know, leave a banner, leave an IM banner, a pop under, whatever you do. Every few weeks, take it, remove it, take a new one. That will keep the users coming and clicking on it. If you keep your stuff there too long, even if you think it's great, there's better stuff out there, new stuff, fresh stuff. You gotta replace it all the time. You know, there are automatic ways to do it, but you know, it's kind of work you gotta do on your own.
Well, typically the guy doesn't want to see the same butt over and over. I know. He wants to see new ones every time.
Yeah.
I want Jasmine.
Yeah, I was gonna say something.
I agree with you all. We have our designers making new banners and iframes on a weekly basis, and we push our affiliates to switch everything out based on like a bi-weekly basis to keep everything, everything fresh.
And what about, so with that, and you know, mentioning the API, so with that, the direction of white label and you know, improvements in API implementation, things like that, what are you guys, is that a constant, you know,
Yeah, I think
evolution?
the companies are really, all of us here, working on our APIs to shine them up and to give more abilities, because in the end of the way, what the API does, it breaks down our abilities as web
Well, it gives the affiliates to customize, and that's so important.
And
to
SEO-wise,
customize
it's
their
so
site.
important after Google is running over everything. And duplicate content sites, and I mean, when the affiliate can take our feeds and just design the site himself over his own IPs
So
and
it's
stuff like
flexibility.
that.
And in the end, it's easier because you're not trying to maintain, like, you have, you were not Microsoft, we know it's not easy to maintain our hierarchical legacy code.
Sure.
And so you have like white label 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, and it's like, guys, come on, upgrade at some point. And a lot of them, they don't want to upgrade. So when you're providing us an API, it's a lot less stuff to maintain. So
Okay.
it's easy.
All right, cool. Well, I want to open this up to the audience. Yeah, I think now's a good time. Questions, guys?
I'm fairly new to the industry. I guess I've been in kind of a year. And I guess one thing that I have my finger on is I'm 27 with college crowd kind of thing. And what she's saying about the app is very true. But a lot of what's really popular is like people interacting with the models like on Snapchat, like on Twitter, on Instagram. And when you interact with, like even me, I brought flowers for a model that I interacted with on Instagram.
Yeah.
You know, and then from there, I'm saying that's the draw for customers.
No, you're right.
Because you're a millennial, and
Put flowers out.
the new generation that's coming in, we're all in tune to it. We're one of the few company plug-in right now. We're one of the few sites that allow Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook, because you know the things that it's a way for the model to entice and let the consumers stay. They're Snapchatting about what they're eating or what club they're at, and that type of stuff is not going to fly on our site. It's sexuality based. And so in order for, you know, these consumers, they want to know more about the girl. And to allow social media, I think it's been one of the biggest things that's allowed us to have a curveball, because it's been letting the consumers stay. They're already interested, and now they're going to stay.
You're giving them more than just a one-time experience. You're giving them kind of like a virtual world.
Yeah, Instagram's not going to be like, oh, your boobs are out. They don't like that. So that's why they keep that on Chatterbait. But they will share the outfits they're going to buy, what they're eating, and it is. There's a lot.
From that perspective and innovation, I just want to add that our company is going to launch during June a new ability for the models to produce their shows from their mobile phones, both Android and iOS's, all devices. And completing what Shirley just said, I mean, it will give the models...
No, competing was correct.
Yeah, competing and completing. I think that it will give the models the ability to make their shows much more interesting. Imagine that the girl can go to the supermarket with her phone on and have someone pay to see her buy tomatoes, and every now and then showing something or whatever it is, or going to the gym with the phone, or to the beach.
Yeah.
And this is really technical achievement, and we are about to launch it across all our sites.
That's awesome. Do we have any other questions?
Differences in behavior patterns of whales or so, in terms of what they're looking at and how they're interacting with the girls, or?
I think whales are private customers, and they're a different kind of customer. They're the same. They love a girl, they fall in love with her, and they interact with. You see, you know,
show up with
more relationships type
more. They're addicted to her. And sometimes, like when a girl's in a private with someone,
focusing, for example, on one girl?
Yeah, no, like they'll have their 5 or 6 favorites. But if they have one that they're really addicted to, sometimes the portals start getting messages from the guy like, why is she in private with him? Make her take me private.
And they're more jealous.
They get jealous. It's jealousy.
But it's more a relationship, you know, like a long-term relationship, rather than, you know, go in, have the girl, then next time another girl. They go back, and it's kind of, you know, like
so whales aren't just on the girl side, though. There's a lot of whales on the gay side as well. Because we do really well on the gay side, so I'm afraid. We have tons of whales, so it's on both sides.
It's relationship.
Yeah. It's totally a relationship, and you'll see that most of them settle into, like they say, 1 to 3. It's usually 1 major, 2 minors, and they'll stay with them for a long time, and then they'll see something else that they like, and if that girl or that guy can interact better or on a more personal relationship with them, they might switch over and start spending a lot more money.
Oh, interesting.
The thing about camps with
the best part about the whales is that they create different usernames because they don't want the other girls to get jealous.
Oh,
They're creating so much
it.
money,
Yes,
so you
sure.
see that.
I
It's so
think
great. They have like 6 different usernames, and each username is dedicated to a certain girl.
The whales are, first of all, they are the reason that we are sitting here.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But,
Absolutely.
But if I'm a whale in pay sites, there's a limit for how much I can spend. And in camps, a whale can spend 100K a week if he wants. And this is the real difference, and this is why we're all sitting here.
You know, I'm more interested in this whole relationship aspect of the dynamic, because the whole amateur market really kind of evolved into what you're seeing with cams today. But one thing I see lacking, and I'll note that StreamRate seems to do the best job of it, is promoting shows in advance. So you know that Susie will be on Friday at 4, Sally's going to be on Saturday at 6. And that, for an affiliate, is a really good advantage to be able to leverage that information. How good are any of you, or how much focus are your companies putting on cultivating individual models? And I know that they work across many networks, so maybe there's a disincentive.
No, it's fine. If they're having, and we encourage our girls, if they're having a slow day on our site, we encourage them to have a secondary website, because we want them to be successful in what they do. The problem with promoting dedicated girls and their show times is a lot of time, and these girls are our bread and butter. We need to put them up on a pedestal. So let me just say that up front. But once they meet, they're like, oh, my rent is paid. All of a sudden they log off. You think they would have like rinse and repeat mentality? And that's the problem with promoting Susie is going to be on 5
They're too
o'clock.
flaky, essentially.
Yeah, and we can't
yeah,
do that.
Featured show, it comes up at every development meeting, like, oh, let's do featured shows. Yeah, okay, let's walk through it again. And it's like, they're a really cool idea, and the truth is that the featured show isn't what makes money, and I've done these many, many years, over 17 years in this business, and I rarely seen where the featured show actually turns a decent ROI. But what it does is the side effect of this featured show is that leading up to it, you get a lot of guys in buying other girls or the friends of the featured show girl, and so in that regard, it makes money. Absolutely.
We do it, I would say, probably a few times a day, mostly with really dedicated studios, you know, the ones we can trust, that won't be flaky. But then again, on the user side, I think...
Out of curiosity, how are you promoting it? Like, how is it done?
Well, there's a calendar, and there is also, if it's one of our top porn stars, we give her the top spot on the site.
Well,
but then again,
porn
it's not
star and
many.
amateur girls are completely different because now you have a huge
and that's what I wanted to say. I mean, the users, you know, they want their fantasy girl. When you go to StreamMate, you get 1,800 rooms. You're gonna find what you want, and I think the key is to have as many rooms and as many performers online possible, and that you know, more girls, more guys, more money.
But it's a much more of a spontaneous process. This isn't being planned out, because I would love to have a calendar ahead of time and know, reliably that you can build small sites.
If you're paying the girl enough money, she'll make a calendar
The
with
majority of
you.
the
Trust
girls
me.
have them in their profile, but we don't promote the specific profile
can't promote
the specific time slot. It's just we
The
can't
girls
do
can do it.
And most of the top girls, they're on 12 hours a day, every day. I mean, I'm best friends with a lot of the top girls at Jasmine's, and they're working 12 hours a day. Trust me, I know, because I see them at the beginning of my day and at the end of my day. And it's like, girl, go to sleep.
So, one question from Joe, and then I want to bring up one other point right after. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't know if other affiliates have found this useful or not, but something that I found is a lot of the top girls that really return ROI for me are usually girls that I've also built a relationship with. So I'm an affiliate for the cam company that they work with, but I also communicate with them via email or social media. And sometimes they'll let you know what the cam schedule they want to run looks like, and they'll let you know what some of their theme shows look like ahead of time. So if you build a little bit of a relationship.
I was saying earlier about affiliates, coming to the cam companies and being like, okay, who are the solid girls that want to be promoted? Can I get pictures that are not going to be on their profile? Can I get exclusives and have the rights to put it on your website? That's exactly comes back to what I was talking about, which more affiliates did, and studios.
Developing models is a good idea for networks because at the end of the day, the model has the best access to promote herself.
Yeah.
And if you develop a relationship with that model, give her support, give her tools, at the end of the day, she's going to make you more money and you're going to make more money. So
yeah, and that's where my largest ROI has come from, is actually developing relationships with the models, and they'll let you in on inside content that they may not
unique
content.
Right, that's what you need.
I think today, because a lot of our the promo tools, the new ones, are based on live feeds or even videos that send the traffic to a live girl, live room. So the girls that are willing to go with this promotion are getting a lot of traffic, and this is the best way to promote to whoever wants to know that they are online, because they are just online in all the tubes now and all the places that we are promoting, and just one click away from it.
Now, what's happening, just talk traffic for a second, this might actually spark up a few other questions depending on who's here, but in terms of mobile, tablet, desktop, blah, 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 cam companies now competing for ad networks, and I want to hear from you guys. Inventory, traffic, how's that, with the way things have been kind of evolving and growing, how's that become in terms of generating activity and traffic to the sites these days?
Let me ask the question back to you.
Okay, yeah.
So you want to know how we're differentiating between mobile and desktop and with that, or you want
Yes,
to know?
part one, yeah, correct.
Okay.
And then part two, kind of competing for that traffic, getting that inventory versus all these other, bigger power players that everybody's starting to become.
Well, you have lots of players looking for the traffic. Everybody finds their area where they get good traffic. Some traffic may be good for me, may not be good for some of these guys. Some of their traffic might be great for them, may not be good for me. Depends on what we're presenting and what the people are looking for. Okay. As far as mobile goes, mobile's Yeah, test and rinse, repeat, figure out who's got what for you and what's working good for you. Desktop's easy. Desktop's been around forever, since the early 90s, so we have a traffic pattern of that. We're there. There's a lot of people out there that are promoting traffic, and you got to test. You got to test the different areas and see what works for you and where they're getting the traffic from. I geo-target and I track by my geos. That's the best way you can do it. If you target so you know where your traffic came from and how it's returning for you, some areas might perform for you and others might not.
Yeah, it's called monetizing it. So really pull the IP address and figure it out what's going to be best for that IP address and how to
And with regards to, I know we speak a lot with your company, with Jeff and you guys, and I know that in terms of that topic, some companies, like you said, test, rinse, repeat, kind of feel things out and hope you find your sweet spot. I know when I talk to Jeff about things like this, they have a more sort of, we have the approach that you have, and you guys have more of a formal approach where they're building a strategy for each thing, and sometimes you've got to wonder, the test, rinse, repeat thing kind of works a lot of times because it's just like, figure it out, it'll happen when it happens, and then this approach is always, it works because it's a drawn out process, right, for you guys. I know that when I've spoken to Jeff about it, they kind of want to strike it hot once and hope that sticks, and they don't want to kind of spread themselves too thin with so many different things and hope that something works. How's that working out?
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to push my company more in the direction of like with certain, like Spain, for instance. I know more people use a mobile phone than most people don't have desktops.
Right.
So I'm like, this is where we need to be buying like mobile traffic from, like Spain, like areas like that. We're trying to test in that way as well. Okay. I think we are like, we're open to different ideas. That's what Jeff is always speaking to you about stuff. We've just been trying a lot of things and trying to improve and optimize.
I want to add something that, as I said with the billing, the days are over when you send your whole. So I think that the days that the company like I'm like buy a huge chunk of traffic from one of the ad networks without
no questions asked. Just
without an in-house ad server that can send the traffic and even use geos that we are not good at to someone else and even to a competitor to use upsell and cross-sell and stuff like that. If we won't be able to monetize this traffic to the maximum, we're not gonna be able ROI-wise to buy. We can still buy, like Jasmine used to buy before, tons of bundles without any ROI.
They're more worried about quantity. And like we're worried about quality traffic. Like so we don't just buy traffic from anybody. We don't just want tube traffic from any tube site. We want premium users.
The thing is, I noticed in the last few years, a lot of the big affiliates started to sell to ad networks as well from the very same reason. Because they can monetize. I mean, they can put flashlight in places that might pay them much more than camps will. So, and this is just an example. So, if you won't be able to get this traffic back and just distribute it between the products that will work, but also to be honest enough to maybe send it to Chatterbait if they better in Czechoslovakia,
Yeah, what happened is actually the networks kind of helped us to really dig and target and optimize traffic by by devices, by countries, all of that, by Wi-Fi or mobile carrier, and that really helped. And I think right now is no one buys everything flat rate, no questions asked. That's long going. Right? Yeah. That's long going.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more of that the cohesiveness of the different brands being able to say, okay, well, this is not working. Let's go to the next guy, and see where they can go. We do that a lot as well.
Yeah, we sell traffic. I mean, we buy a lot of traffic. Sometimes we cannot buy we buy everything and then we sell it.
So let me ask one last question.
You always test every competitor's white label and
rightfully so.
Development we do. So it's standard operating procedure. Buy traffic for each one. See which one does.
Yeah, no, I mean, this makes sense. In terms of geos, I know, and this question only comes to mind for me because it's such a hot topic in terms of the mobile space and billing. We really we're finding that we're monetizing countries I didn't think, weird off countries in South Africa, India, the weird, the very, what do they call them, emerging countries, kind of where they don't have enough money to pay for the internet, so they just live on their own flip phones and old smartphones, whatever. Are you seeing What are those countries like for you guys? How does that?
It's but I think that both India and Brazil, for that matter, are really growing verticals. The only problem in these countries is to get models.
But can you charge them the same amount of money?
Yeah, to get models and billing. Companies like us basically rely on credit cards, payment after all. And in India, this is pretty much the only thing you can go by because there is hardly no alternative payments. But in Brazil, for example, we have maybe 20 different alternative payments. The thing is that you need to adjust the product to it because in Brazil, most of the people will go to the store, they will pay to the clerk. After 3 days, you will give them a code and they will put it into the internet. So the whole thinking about when you're going to pay for the affiliate and how you're going to, convert this traffic is really, really.
But do you not take into, or maybe you don't need to, I guess this is different, but do you take into consideration things where, for example, we've got in Switzerland, being a wealthy country, I know I'll charge these guys $20 a week, whereas some other not so wealthy country, I've got to charge them $5 a week. We take all that into, and again, for us, we're splitting it with the carrier as well and all that kind of thing. Do you guys not need to do that so much?
No, I think because models are putting, at least for us, they're putting in their own price points.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, if it was a pay site, well, then I could see how that would be, that would be ideal. But the girls are making their own price points.
The camps cater to that relationship again, and you're catering more to the upper,
to the big boys.
Well, I mean, not necessarily just the big boys, but you're catering to people who they're willing to separate with their money for this experience. It doesn't have to be rich or poor, but if you see that the model is setting her price that I'm not going to do this for this, and then do you really want to be the guy that's negotiating for that?
Yeah, you want the models to put the same type of experience for all users.
Exactly.
You could get models with lower.
It just won't be as awesome.
Well, not necessarily.
No, I mean it's a different experience.
Yeah. Okay. Do we have any more questions? Go ahead.
Adding on to this globalization, Tim, when you started, it must have been all overwhelmingly American models, American studios by American consumers. How about today?
When we started, we bought up 100% of Yahoo. We were the only advertiser on Yahoo. We bought up all of Excite, all of Netscape. We owned all of the adult traffic from Microsoft.
Jesus Christ.
So
1998.
Steve Jobs was in college.
And we held that until Yahoo no longer allowed adult traffic. We were the only advertiser. We also did a deal with Google, and we were the only people that actually had an ad on Google's page at the time. So, US traffic was the beginning, but you also.
But what about your models? Were they all?
The models were mostly American when we first started, and then it started to shift, and people started seeing from overseas. You started seeing Germany, UK, places like that. Now,
and then Columbus find America.
And then we turned on electricity, right?
That changed everything.
Yeah, it was originally mostly U.S. stuff. Now it's around the world, and like everyone said, you have to modify it for where your traffic's coming from. You have to know where your traffic's coming from because of the billing issues, because of what they're looking for, what kind of languages they want to speak, different things like that. So
interesting.
I just want to say one thing that most of our guys are already involved in is the penetration percentage of webcam into the mainstream world. I mean, if I ask 10 of my best friends, which are not industry guys, do you know Ashley Madison? Most of them will say yes.
Probably, yeah.
If I ask them they know Pornhub, they will say yes. If I ask them they know Streaming, I'm Live, Chatterbait, most of them will say no.
Yeah.
I think Chatterbait's been a strong contender.
Okay, so I want to say something. Chatterbait is number one. Now I want to finish.
I'm glad you agree.
I want to finish. So I think that the most of our aims needs to penetrate the mainstream with awareness of what this webcam industry done. Not just the service we are giving to people, but also the service that we are giving, the abilities we are giving for models as well. And because this is a sea of traffic, we're not even close to pitching.
But do you think that there's something to be said about when, in comparison to, if we're using a dating product as an example, in Ashley Madison or whatever, there's that glimmer of hope, if not an actual reality, that person might actually physically meet that person.
That happens all the time. All the time. And it really happens actually.
But in camps, they don't ever meet the person.
Well, at CamryCon, they're going to get to come and meet the girls.
Well, they gotta come to okay, fine. But you see my point?
Yeah.
Where the dating site, there's the glimmer of hope that there's a reality maybe that I might actually get to high five this
These
chick.
days are over.
Whereas- But my point is that might be why those 9 out of 10 of your friends may not know the brands the way they would at dating.
No, I
brands.
think it's all related because the dating always play on the edge, you know.
Of course, yeah.
They are not really adult. They're not really mainstream. But
The thing is, dating, the adult dating is sucking from, mainstream dating, Match.com, Plenty of Fish, Tinder.
Sure.
So dating is very common everywhere. I mean,
Yeah, it's a mixed
Online
bag.
dating.
online dating, everyone knows about online dating,
that's
but
gonna transition
there's no
to
online
No,
camps,
you're right.
I mean, it will never succeed, it never has, and this is why the word is not
That
spread
could
out
be.
yet.
Yeah, I think that's the point. Yeah.
But it'll get there.
We got one quick question here. Hold on.
Well, and I think that's the main differential too, is the difference between the dating and the camming, especially with traffic. Is with camming, you're getting mostly the guys like the whales who are looking for that full virtual girlfriend experience. I'm getting the Snapchat, the text messages, the upsell, the pictures. It's like having a girlfriend without having the physical relationship and the downside.
So I think this is where it kind of like separates, like we're chatterbait, streammate, and when you go to a strip club and you're there and the girl is on the stage and everyone, it's like strip club etiquette to casually give her a couple of dollars as she dances because you're there, you have the best view. I think this is where it kind of breaks down to the individual cam companies where we're kind of the person that everyone's contributing a little bit of money towards the show, opposed to someone like Streammate where it's targeted towards lap dance, where it's a private show. You're the only person in the room. So when it breaks down to traffic and it breaks down to campsites, I mean, it really depends on your studio girls. What kind of, is she social or is she not? What is it based? So it goes from the studio towards the affiliate, towards the traffic that's coming in, and to realize what's best for it. Maybe what your traffic's coming in maybe not be good for Chatterbait, but it's good for Streamer, or vice versa.
That's true. I talked to 2 models this morning, and the first one was like, I can't stand group show, I only want private. Group show makes me feel cheap. The girl I talked to next, I hate privates, I don't even accept them, I only want group show. And I'm like, okay.
Well, the same argument we get between strip club and lap dance clubs. Strip clubs, there's a lot of girls that are like, I could never go that one-on-one in that close contact with a guy sometimes, to where you've got some girls, right, that are like, I love being on stage all the time, I don't like the one-on-one contact, where other girls are like, I can't have all those people staring at me.
I have time for one more question, I think. Do I have time for one more question? Quick, okay.
This is rapid fire space.
5 seconds.
60%.
About 80.
I would say around 80, majority dollars.
Very small. Probably 10.
U.S.
The largest proportion is from U.S. for us.
U.S. probably about 80.
So promote us in the U.S. Open database.
So normally, I don't know that we have time, but normally what I'd like to do is let them all kind of throw in a quick 30-second wrap-up on maybe pushing their brand or whatever, but I don't think we have time for that. So I want to encourage you guys to come meet with them. It's a really dynamic bunch, and maybe even next time, I think there's a lot of points here in terms of the mobile and traffic side of things where we can kind of scrutinize this even a little further, have a mobile cam panel and a traffic, that kind of thing. I think it'd be a lot more interesting to hear, to focus a bit more on some of these things. But please come and chat with these guys and hear what they've got going on. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.